This tutorial is going to be for the additive modeling for activity 1.2.2. So we're going to be creating this rectangle here, adding another rectangle on top, hence adding on to create this final object, whereas with the subtraction, you make the full height of the object first, and then we're subtracting part of the height to get the final object. So for a subtractive, we're going to be doing something a little bit differently than what you see here, but additive, we're going to be doing this portion down here. So we're going to start by creating our sketch on the top view. So if you'd like to hide the front and the right, just come over here to the planes and click on the eyeball to hide them from view. Then we're going to click on top on the cube over here on the right so that it centers the top view in our viewing screen here. So we're going to create a sketch, and then you just click on the plane, select a sketch plane. So we want the top. And notice how it puts a lighter blue box with sketch 1 within the top plane here. So we're going to be doing a corner rectangle. You could also do a center point rectangle if you would like. Please excuse my dog's barking. The doorbell just went off. So let's do a center point rectangle. We're going to click on the origin here. And you can just drag it out to whatever size you want, and then we can change the dimensions after you click to place it. So notice how on the bottom here, it makes a box around and then has the numbers be black instead of blue. So if you hover over to the other one, it will create, you can start typing in the box for whichever dimensions has the box around it. So for on the bottom, it's going to be 3 inches. And then you can just hit enter and notice how it automatically goes to the other dimension. So this we want to be 1 inch. Now, notice how the plus button is still here for creating a rectangle. So we're just going to hit escape on our keyboard so that the mouse comes back up. I'm also going to click and hold to drag my dimensions in a little closer to my object as per the dimensioning guidelines. You don't want them super far away if that's not necessary. So now we're going to finish the sketch by just clicking the green check mark. And if you would like, you can view what this currently two-dimensional shape looks like in an isometric view. You can either do isometric or trimetric. It's the same thing, it just creates a slightly different angle in a 3D view. So we're going to extrude, which you can click Shift E on your keyboard as well. And we have to select where we want to create the extrusion. So you just have to select your object. So notice how I hover closer to it, it creates this orange outline. So we're just going to click on our shape that we drew. And we want the height here to be 0.5. So once you type that in, you can either hit enter or the green check mark. So now notice we have the rectangle just like we do here in this picture. It is just a slightly different color and your screen does look a little bit different just because this is being done on Fusion, whereas we are using Onshape. Onshape just is easier to use both at home and at school, whereas Fusion is not and constantly needs updates that we do not have time for. So now we're going to create another sketch. This time, instead of selecting a plane, we're going to select the plane of the top of the rectangle. So you want to see the orange outline around your rectangle. Now to double check that it is in fact on the top here, we can look from the front view. And you can see that the light blue is on top versus on the bottom or in the middle or anywhere else on the screen. So now I'm going to go back to my top view. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And we're going to now create a corner rectangle instead of a center, so corner rectangle. You can either click this corner or this corner, it does not matter. But you do want to see that orange square, and you're just going to hover until you see another orange square. So the dimensions should say 1.5 and 1 because we want this in the middle. 1.5 is half of 3, so that makes sense. You can also see the constraint on the bottom right of where the orange square is. It looks like a line with a dot. That represents the midpoint. So I'm just going to click and then hit escape on my keyboard because the dimensions are already set based on where we placed it. So now we can go to that 3D view here. You can hit the check mark to finish this sketch. And we're going to add that extrusion like is being done here. So we're going to extrude this side because we want this part to have the 1 inch to it. It automatically defaults to 1 inch, so you can just hit enter or the green check mark. And now we have our final model, just like we do here in this view. So your additive model is now complete. It automatically saves, so you don't have to worry about saving anything as long as you hit the green check marks to finish all of your sketches and extrusions.